We do that.
with the pledge to the allegiance.
Yeah. we'll do
Yep.
it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yep, okay, roll call. Boy, if I knew everybody's name, I'd call, but.
Secretary can call it.
Oh. Gillespie,
Here.
Paulson,
Here.
Smith,
Yes.
got 3 absent. I could call her name and not hear anything, but we'll just say that Mr. Simonik and Mr. Gibbon, who's the other one?
Just two.
No,
That's just it.
Yeah.
Just 2 absent. We have a quorum.
Right, good. You gonna take it from here? Okay, we, previous meeting minutes, is there any corrections or additions?
I move that we approve them.
Okay, is there,
I'll-
it's been,
I'll second that.
okay, all right. Reports, budget report, Terry?
Hi, nothing really new on the budget. The only thing is here probably, 3 weeks ago, we purchased a spray tank, a larger spray tank to go in the back of a truck. So what we're gonna be doing is, the dump truck that we currently have and have a tank in it, that's not really set up for spraying, the tank isn't, where the drain comes out the bottom, and on the highway side, we have a dump truck with a box, that the box is shot, so what we're gonna be doing is, we're gonna be taking the box off of that truck. We'll be transferring that truck over to the weed department, and then we'll be mounting that spray tank and all the equipment on that truck directly onto the frame of that truck. So it won't have a box on anymore. And in the truck that we currently have, we'll send it back to the highway department. We'll transfer it back over to the highway department. So that's kind of the only thing that we have in the budget. Like I said, that tank was $8,000. So you'll see that in, under the capital outlay, under equipment expenses. So,
How big a tank are you putting on that?
2,600.
2,600?
yeah, 2,600 gallons. So,
Current tank is 1,700 gallons and it's a supply tank. It's not really a spray tank, so I gotta run around the box 3 feet in the air.
other than that, I'm assuming we'll probably be looking at purchasing spray here pretty soon. Haven't purchased any yet, or very, very little if any yet. So, any other questions on the budget?
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Yep.
Spray report, Russ.
All right, far as spraying goes, I got some really good and I got some not so good. Did get through all the county roads by about the first, call it second week of July. Townships, I've got 1 done, I've got 3 to go. One down the south corner, I think they got somebody else to do it, which is fine, less for me to do. As far as spraying, ditches are doing good, but the shoulders are a nightmare, and that's everywhere, even other counties and stuff. It's part of the year. Couple of roads I've sprayed twice, could spray again, but it's how much do you dump on it? So they're gonna start mowing again here pretty quick. And I think it was probably a little bit to do with, I was out a little bit earlier this year by about almost 2 weeks. And I don't know if that hurt me or not, or if it's a season. But we mowed earlier than usual too. So I know Jared and I are working on that. Otherwise on spraying, yeah, I haven't purchased spray yet. We'll start buying spray for next year, starting here pretty quick. I have it all bought by the first of the year. sit down and figure out exactly how much I need and get her bought. Questions on spraying?
I got a question on, this is brought up to me along the state highway, like Highway 18. Does the state spray all the way up to the fence line, or do they just spray a portion of the road ditch and then the farmer's responsible for?
The state, every little division they got, every one of them does it a little bit different. 2 years ago, they had four-wheelers running around like Highway 18 and out on the interstate. I didn't see them this year, but they waited till everything went to seed and then they were out mowing. So it's kind of hit and miss on what each one of their, there's Sioux Falls, there's Canton, there's Beersford. Each one of them does it a little bit different. They're spraying, from what I've seen, and I don't know for 100%, is they usually hire somebody to come in with four-wheeler Rangers and just spot spray. I don't think they blanket spray like we do. And if you have problems, somebody has problems, they need to call the DOT and talk to them, because they're responsible for the ditch just like we are.
Some of those weeds, they crop up after
Yep.
they spray.
Yeah, and that catches me off guard too. I try and hit my worst roads early, but I almost got to figure on spraying them twice, because I get out early, knock them down, then they come back mid-season on me. And I end up spraying twice, and I don't know if the state does that.
Yeah.
Because I'll start second spraying roads that I know are bad. I'll load up big load, and then I just run all my roads and try and spot spray bad spots again. Trying to work on them, but
Yeah.
the state, they do theirs a little different.
Oh, okay. Equipment report.
Everything's been running good, had a good year, no big major failures. Terry mentioned we're gonna switch a truck around and get to a regular tank, and actually with 2,600 gallons, I can cover more ground. Cause like, example, and I've explained it before, up Delapre Township, I sprayed that, and with pickup usually takes, 12, 13 loads, doing 6 miles at a time, and I sprayed Delapre Township in 2 loads in a day and a half with big trucks. So I can get over more stuff quicker, and that's where we're trying to get to, and actually downsized, and we got rid of one pickup already from the spray department. So we have less equipment. Other than that, no major upgrades, just getting that truck. I switched all the spray stuff from my old truck to the new one. The tank was the major thing. Everything else has been working good, knock on wood.
No troubled spots or the?
Yeah, trouble spots, I've looked into probably, I was quick going through it this morning, all the different stuff. I probably looked at close to 100, 120 different properties. And there's probably in that 80, 90 of them that I started chasing actual start paperwork on. I think I got a map. If this will pop up. Yeah, here's a map of the ones I've actually started paperwork following up. When I'm spraying in spring, I try and keep track of who's doing what. There's actually 55 on here. Lion's share of them are in the north half of the county. That's a lot of that has to do with acreages. People get an acreage and they don't take care of it, or real estate buys a piece of land and lets it sit for 2 years before they do something. There's a lot of them, but once I get a hold of them, and then as far as letters, it's like 20 or 22 letters that I sent out. And so far, everybody's taking care of their stuff, not as fast as we want, but everybody's taking care of their stuff. I've got 2 left that are getting fall sprayed, and I know who they contacted to do it, so they will get fall sprayed. I just gotta go back and check later on to make sure it did, and they will. But pretty good this year. Weeds are terrible. Canadians went nuts. They went to seed like the second week of July, and it should have been in August when they go to seed, so it's kind of a catch-22 year, and that's part of dry year. I do have some bigger spots I'm gonna chase on a little harder, and when I do this tour stuff, I'll explain them a little more. But other than that, yeah, my trouble spots, the ones I've chased, they've all taken care of them. It took a little pushing on a couple of them, but they did get it done. Any other questions on trouble spots?
Thank you, Russ.
Mhm.
Okay, old business, any old business?
That I'm aware of.
New business, tell us a little bit about the weed tour.
Yeah, if I can make this work. All right, I got it. This is, south of Newton Hills on a piece of property. It's 70 acres, about 55 of it are Canadians. It's CRP ground. The landowner beside there called me to go look at it because about the only way we get to it's through his yard, and you don't see it unless you go through his yard. I went out and looked at it, and it is a mess. This is his yard. He's sprayed his yard twice already, and it's solid Canadians. It's CRP ground. I need to talk to FSA on this one. And I couldn't legally do anything because, like the first picture showed, they just sprayed it. Everything had gone to seed, but they'd sprayed it. So I need to follow up on this one, and it'll be spring when I start chasing into that. This is another one. It's kind of, pictures don't do it justice. This is a 103 acre field. It's up by north and west of T. And, oops, back up one. It is solid Canadians. And I did get a hold of them with a letter. It was when I was spraying Delapre Township. I found it, sent it, well, it was CRP ground and it was hayed. And I don't know if they're gonna spray. I wanna call him back again and ask if they did, but come spring, this is another one that I'm gonna sit down with FSA that, don't want the landowner to lose CRP payments, but the other landowners don't need that many thistles blowing around either.
I know, I've talked to one of the landowners adjacent, and he buys the spray by the pallets to spray his own pasture, because it
Yep,
all comes over from that land there.
yep. And I'm going after them, and as far as myself, if I find this, I start our letter process, and FSA is, I will speak to them, and they got a new person there, so I'm kinda in the dark with them. I need to get back into the rapport I had with them before, but it makes no difference what their policy is. If we got bad weeds, then the first letter, second letter, and then we can declare them and do something. But if we can work together with them, and they have well in the past, so.
Well, when you send a letter to the landowner, could you CC the FSA too?
In the past, I did that with the past guy and then they would follow up, and you get a little pressure from two sides, and it worked pretty good, but there's a new person there, and I haven't gone and sat down with them and had this discussion, and it'll be good. They're trying to get rid of weeds too, so. But that was two real bad ones that, with the drought declaration, just about all CRP ground got hayed, which is good. It knocked them down. I wouldn't want to be buying any hay right now, but.
I'm in some CRP ground too, and knock on wood, it's pretty darn clean.
Yeah, some of it stays really good, but boy, if you get spot going, and
Especially around the low spots.
Yep.
Or in the CRPs.
when we had the wet year, that hurt a lot of that CRP ground, which is in low land, and
Yeah.
then everything grew, and, it multiplies really fast, so. Oh, let's see, we go this way. This was earlier on, but the way our shoulders didn't work, this is, I got like 6 of these. This one's like south of town. You can see on the right side of the road, the shoulder's good and clean. On the left side, all the ragweed and kochia's coming, and that was the same load. I went down 6 miles, turned around, came back. Now, why one side stayed clean and the other didn't, I don't get it, but that's kind of the year we had. That's why our shoulders look terrible. And a lot of that has to do with dry. You know, it's dry and there's no grass pressure, so. Oh, where's this one? This one is up on the Lennox exit, that Spirit Realty that I'd fought in the past, and I get lots of phone calls on that one, but this is what it looked like when I first chased them this spring and got a hold of them, and yes, they were going to do something. And I believe the company they hired was the one that went broke in Sioux Falls, so then they got behind the 8 ball and had to go chase somebody else. But oops, come on, go bigger. They did spray it. It is all dead, but I still get phone calls on these little sunflowers and stuff, and there's nothing I can do about sunflowers. But I've been working on them for 2.5 years now, and I've got a new contact that I'm supposed to contact this fall, and they're trying. They're not the greatest, but they are trying. So we are getting that one done. And that is pretty much the end of the tour. Yeah, this year Canadians, they went to seed, it was third week of July. They went to bloom one week and they were blowing seeds the next. And it should have been August when they usually come around, and everybody kind of got behind the 8 ball on them, so we're gonna have lots of them for a while.
Never a shortage.
No, nope, never a shortage of weeds. It's kind of job security. Other than that, I think I'm getting it done. Any questions on anything we're doing? Or should be doing?
Thanks for your work, Russ.
Thank you.
Announcements, any announcements? Is this where we line up the next meeting?
Yeah.
This is our fourth one for this year.
No, we need to have one more, and that's gotta be like no later than the first week of December, cause then paperwork you guys fill out's gotta get to the auditor, so it gets in a meeting, so we need to pick a meeting last week of November, first week of December somewhere.
Well, December 7th or 8th,
Yeah,
one on Thursday again?
yeah,
That's fine.
just right after Thanksgiving there sometime, yeah.
All right, December 8th, 8:30?
Plan on that, we get closer, we can adjust if we need to.
8:30?
Yeah, work good for you guys in the morning?
Yeah, occasionally I gotta get up before 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you're one of them retired ones.
Okay, if there's no more announcements, we'll call this meeting adjourned.
Need to have a motion?
Oh.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Is motion made? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion is made, second, so we're adjourned.
Thank you.